Hello, this is Aaron Zamora for the Algebra video final for spring 2019. Today what I'm going to be talking about is 3 attributes to be successful in Beck's math, and also 3 mistakes I believe that others make while taking this course. So for the first 3 attributes that I want to talk about to be successful in Beck's math is, first, I like keeping a binder. That is one of the first attributes I like to recommend to most people, whether it's recommended or whether it's required or not in the specific math class. Because when keeping a binder, I feel like that's the easiest way to recall information that you've had in previous weeks and months, so that way you can refresh on the information that you have been given over the time. Now, for my second attribute that I really like when becoming successful in Beck's math is get to know your classmates. In my opinion, when getting to know your classmates, this really helps out a lot in your learning environment, because you can see who might be smarter than you, who might lack knowledge, or who might just straight out, annoy you, possibly. But this will help you in key to knowing how your environment's going to be, how you will learn, who you will get help from, or how you can help others. And I think this really puts that subject and environment in more livingly, so that you're more constant into how you want to learn. Now, for the third and final attribute that I want to save when becoming successful in Beck's math is speak to your teacher. This is a really common one that I feel like nobody does and is always said to do. But when I feel like you talk to your teacher, you can get to know more or fill in information that you had lacked from either not coming on a certain day of school or just straight out not understanding a certain part, because this will later on help you when building your house, is what I like to say, because this will help you finish it and build on to the next parts that you will be learning in this subject. Alright, now I'm going to discuss the 3 mistakes that I feel like others have made or will make. And basically, these aren't necessarily ones that I have done or possibly done, but this is what I think others do and they should avoid, and I will explain how it will help when avoiding these. So the first mistake that I believe others make is not turning in work. Now, this is a big thing for me, because when I don't turn in work, I can't see if I lack in that part of the subject or not. Because if I score really good on that work that I had to turn in, I know I'm good in that certain part of the subject, and I don't have to overstudy it a lot so I get it perfect. But when I do turn in a paper and it's either lower than a 70 or even lower than an 80, I know I need to improve in that part. And that's what I feel like most people don't do, because they either don't turn in work because they don't think they have to, or they're just too lazy, or sometimes they just straight up forget. But not turning in work is something that I feel like can really affect you in a negative way. From when you do turn in your work, you get to know how you did, what you need to improve on, or see what else you need to learn. This is kind of a confusing one to talk about, but I feel like I need to address it. A second mistake that I feel like others make is lack of creativity. Now, this might be weird, but I like to solve math problems in multiple ways. If I'm presented one problem, I'll try to solve it 3 different ways or 4 different ways. And I feel like that really helps me in understanding the content that we're going over, because then if I'm ever showed the question in another form or fashion, then I know how to handle it because I've tried solving it in different ways, which I feel like other people should try, because they will just stick to whatever the teacher teaches them, and they'll just only know that one way, that one time, so they could just solve it. And I don't think that would really help, because if someone tries mixing up the question, that will really throw them off and they'll be really confused. So I think a mistake that people should avoid is not having creativity. They should try being creative, try seeing how can I solve this problem in order to get the same result in multiple ways. So I think that's something that people should work on when being in a class environment. Now for my final mistake that I believe people in Beck's math, or just math in general, tend to make, which I think this is the biggest one that I really want to avoid and others avoiding, is not showing up. When not showing up to your class, you really miss out on a lot of the subject and what you are learning that week or that month or that day only. Because we're going back to the house, where when you're learning something, I like to treat it like a house. And math is probably the easiest one where you can treat it like this. Because first you start off by learning numbers, and then you learn how to add and subtract, multiply, divide. And it goes like that on and on. But basically what you're slowly doing is making a house. So first you get your flooring, then you get your walls, then you get your roof, then you get fashionable and you decorate your house, but that's until later. But when missing out on a day in class, you always use the information that you learned the previous day, or days or months and weeks, and you add it on to the next day. And if you're lacking some of the information from the previous days, I feel like you can't learn it as well as you should have. So it's like you're building a house, but you're forgetting the one wall. So that's what I believe are the 3 attributes that would make you successful, and the 3 mistakes that I feel like others make. Thank you for spending this time to watch this video, and have a good day.